Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Skaggly Bones with another video for you today, folks. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about tools, specifically tools you need to work on your bike. Now, I don't have everything here. I do have a lot of my tools in household goods, and once I get my permanent residence here in where I'm at in Guam here, hopefully I will be doing a complete guide to everything that I have and everything I think a person who is serious about cycling should get for their road bike, unless of course you decide that you want to have the local bike shop take care of everything. But in Guam where I'm at, there's only 2 bike shops. Most of the time they're dealing with, one of the bike shops deals mostly with new bikes, putting new bikes together. They're seldom got a whole lot of time. One of the other bike shops that's here, they do a lot, but he's pretty busy as well. So as you can see, I do a lot of the stuff myself. One of the best ways to keep yourself motivated in riding is to do a lot of the repairs yourself. I feel that's probably one of the best things to do. So we're going to go over very quickly some of the tools that you need, and a lot of the tools that you can get, you can find online. So no matter where you're at, you can order most tools, and a lot of the bike shops will carry a lot of this stuff. So, and one other thing to say is this does not include the tools that the multi-tools and the tools that you're going to take with you when you're on your ride. That I did a video about that separately. So this is to cover other types of tools that you definitely aren't going to take with you. So first thing to talk about, one of the first things you want to have with you is a basic screwdriver. Now, I do have a set of screwdrivers from Phillips and flatheads, but I found that for most everything, and this one I use for adjusting I do have some smaller screwdrivers as well, but I'll use this for, you want to have a Phillips head screwdriver, kind of in the medium size. You can use it for, I use this for cleats, putting on cleats, installing cleats, removing cleats, adjusting your cleats, obviously any type of cleat stuff. You do have a couple of Phillips heads on your bike, and you're obviously going to have high and low limit screws that are going to be Phillips head, probably a little bit smaller than this, so you're going to want to use a slightly smaller Phillips head, and I do have smaller Phillips head that I use. But have yourself a good set of Phillips head screwdrivers. These are some Craftsman. This one I think. Nope, it wasn't. Some cheapy brand. I got some somewhere. Similar to a Craftsman, but it doesn't matter. Just get yourself some Phillips head. Okay. I also have here, I'll kind of go over some of your basic tools, non-specific tools first. Put them off here. So always, Phillips head, always have a ratchet. This one has a socket on it that's the same size socket. Let's see here. This is a 17 millimeter, and this one, along with this wrench right here, this cone wrench, is used for my hubs. So my hubs use a 17 millimeter socket on them, and then I use this for taking apart the hubs along with this cone wrench, and I'll talk about the cone wrench in a second. So always have the proper socket, or get yourself an adjustable wrench. You can do it with an adjustable wrench. And like I said, some of my tools, like my large adjustable wrenches and stuff, I have in my toolbox and stuff that is not with me. These are all the tools that I brought with me that I felt were 100% necessary for doing my job, for doing this job. Okay, so another tool that I always make sure you have yourself a nice sharp knife or a pair of scissors. I use this for cutting tape. I always have something that's serrated because it's great for, if the knife itself dulls, the serrated edge will always pretty much cut anything. So use it for tape, anything like that. Okay, I have always a couple of pairs of what we want to call channel locks, locking jar wrenches, however you want to call them, plumber's wrenches, whatever. This set is just hand adjustment like this. It's got like 5 adjustment locks on it, this pair of channel locks. This one has got about 15 or 20 different little tiny positions. So this one is very good. And it's made by, it's vice grip style Irwin tools, really good. This one I don't know what the company is, but as you can see it's rusted a little bit, but it's okay, it still works. This one has a little button here, and it slides down, locks into place. The nice thing I like about this one is it won't slip out of place. It's not hard to get in place. So have yourself a couple pairs of channel locks. Invaluable for if you don't have the correct size adjustable wrench. This will work in a pinch. Okay, I do have a set of standard Allen keys here, as you can see. I bought my Allen keys in a set. Of course, there's a handle piece that goes to it. I did not bring the handle piece. You can slide this in and use the handle as a large key handle, but I did not really have need for that, so I left that in my other toolbox. But it does have that. So this is the standard size. I do have a small set of Allens that you've seen that I keep in my bike bag, but I keep these long-handled ones. They have the bondus, which is a rounded edge on the one side, so it allows you to get into some tight corners once you've loosened stuff up and you can move it around. And then of course it has the flat end on the other side. So I always get these type because they are, this side is great for when you're torquing down on a specific thing, especially like your pedals or something. And then the bondus is for getting into tight spaces. So I always carry a standard size, even though all bikes are going to be metric. I still have a set of standard just in case, because you never know what kind of weird bike you might get. Stuff all over. Okay, so if you see here, I got a grease gun. Now you can get larger grease guns, you can get smaller grease guns. I kind of have this weird fitting setup. I could not find the proper, this is what came with it. You can put this fitting here and then cap it off here, or you can put through the handle. This just takes up a little less space. Put the grease in here, you put grease tubes in there. I use a marine grease that you use on boats and stuff. It's almost like a tourmaline, or it's the same thing as your park tool grease. And then if you can see here, I made this little fitting. I found a fitting that would fit inside the fitting for my speed play pedals, so that I didn't have to go out and spend $30 or $40 for the speed play high pressure. You want a high pressure gun like this for like speed play pedals and stuff, but I did not want to spend the $30 or $40 for that speed play grease gun. So I got this grease gun for I think $6 at like a Home Depot or Lowe's. And then I bought that fitting for about 25 cents, and I have a slightly shorter one, which is the same size. Okay. So yeah, this is a slightly smaller, a shorter fitting, but I found that this works. Now this is just a Zerk fitting. You normally actually screw into something, you clip onto it to use, but it seals around there. And this is made to, sorry, that's made to snap on there. And the only other fitting I could find that was small enough was literally a needle. So I didn't want to use a needle to poke in there. I kind of need a, but that works really well. I've used that for the, okay. One of the other things which I kind of alluded to is a cone wrench. A cone wrench is nothing more than a spanner wrench or a combination wrench, but it's really thin. As you can see right there, it's super, super thin. And this one is a 15 millimeter, which is it's 15 millimeters on that side, 13 millimeters on this side, which is standard size for all your, a lot of your different hubs. Now, there's 13, 15, there's 13, 16, there's 14, 16, I believe. There's like 3 or 4 different ones. So you have 13, 14, 15, and 16 millimeter for all your cone wrenches that are standard. So you can get all of them. I just didn't see a need for it until I actually needed, but these are like $2, $3. So buy yourself the cone wrench that you need for your hubs, and if you can, just pick up all the different cone wrenches. Now I have other ones, but like I said, I only brought the ones I needed for my equipment. So that's cone wrench. Okay, now the next item here. Sorry, I try to put some of this stuff away here, out of the way. Next item you'll need is you'll need this along with this here, and this is a chain whip, okay, bike hand chain whip, and what this does is this is for taking off your cassette. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to lock your cassette in place, or you can hold it to hold it in place because you're putting the chain around the cassette. You're going to hold it in place, and then this goes on the inside, okay, and then you take a spanner wrench or a adjustable wrench, and which I don't actually have one here, but you could technically use and you would want a micro adjustable one like this. it would get. Now you'd put some teeth marks in this, but if you get one that will adjust exactly, you could actually use that right there, because as you can see, putting perfect even pressure on there. You can only go down a little bit more, and it's not up like this, so it's not going to actually slip inside of the teeth. So you could actually use that for it. Well, what this does is actually goes into the hub locking tool, or the hub locking nut, and it goes in there. This actually goes inside, so you don't need a skewer, and you put that on there, and it breaks that bolt. So that's always good to have if you have to change out your cassette. Okay, always have yourself a set of small files. The reason is if you have aluminum wheels and you have aluminum braking surface, you get a tiny burr on there or something like that, you want to be able to file down any rough surfaces that you might get. So always have yourself a nice set of files. Okay, this here is a, this here is a brain fart. Now if you notice, this and this is the same size, 15 millimeter. This is for pedals. This is a pedal spanner. Okay. Now, this you need if most pedals that you get standard on a bike will be flat in the back, and you'll need a pedal spanner. Okay. But most new pedals are going to use 8 millimeter Allen key. Okay. So you might need this and you might not. I simply had to buy this tool in order to take a set of pedals off a bike and replace them with new pedals. And it was actually cheaper than having them do it. And then that way I always had a pedal spanner. So the reason I wouldn't use this, this 15 millimeter, is this would not give me enough torque. So I need a little bit more torque, and you kind of need this pedal spanner. Okay. Next tool, this is kind of more of a specialized tool. Well, a lot of these are specialized tools, like your chain whip tool, but you can make one of those. This is something you're really not going to be able to make. This is a Park tool, BBT9. This is a bottom bracket tool. Okay, as you can see there, it's got the little special tool to tighten in the end cap for the crank, and this is for the bottom bracket cup, the external cup. So this is for external bottom brackets. I have one for internal, or what we call square taper bottom brackets, because I have a couple bikes with square taper bottom brackets. But that is what we use. That's what I use on my road bike. And I had to buy this when I bought my new crank and bottom bracket. So this is about a $20 tool as well. But pretty common, so that's always a good one to have. As you can see here, we have, if you have an old style crank, this is a crank arm puller. This does two things. You actually screw this piece in here. You actually screw it out all the way. Or you can take this off. And this is typically how I do it. I take this off here, like so. And then, as you can see, there's this pressure piece here, which is aluminum, which they do ding up depending on how much the crank is on there. And this is for square taper cranks, or any type of cranks like that. This actually goes inside where the crank, you take the crank bolts off, put this in, and then this goes in there, and you just keep cranking down on it, and it will eventually push the crank arm off the bearing. So this is for your square taper and some of your power spline bottom brackets. Okay, now rubber mallet. You say, well, why would you go banging on your bike? Well, when you have an external bottom bracket and you have what's called a Holotech 2 cranks, this is what you want to use to remove your crank arm, or to install it for that matter. So this is going to be soft on the bike. It's a very light, it's the 8 ounce, as you can see there, 8 ounce rubber mallet. Just a few dollars, I think maybe $5 for this. So a great tool to always have. Kind of always have a rubber mallet. Do not use metal on your bike when needing to pound on something. Always use rubber. Use a rubber mallet. You're not going to hurt it. Okay. This is a chain checker tool. Now you can get more expensive chain checker tools. I think this is maybe a $6 to $7 item. You can get a $20 item that's adjustable. But this, pretty much what you do is you put it in one end of the chain, And what you want to see is 0.5 is the minimal. If it's at 0.75, that's the max wear point. And if this actually drops in at the 0.75 mark, you must change out your chain. In fact, most of the time, when it drops in the 0.5, I'm changing out my chain anyways. Now, some chains and cassette combos, when they get to the 0.5, you want to change them out anyways. It depends. Some of them are the 0.75, just depends on which chain and cassette combo you have. Okay, but that's a chain checker tool, and you can get a little bit more advanced ones that show you even more increments than that. But this is a good inexpensive way to check your chain without having to use a ruler to measure it. Okay, always keep yourself some electrical tape, and as you can see, I have some wear. These are some wear tabs that prevent from wearing on the bike. I use them for underneath like cables and stuff. Always keep yourself some electrical tape, always a good thing to have. This here and these two tools are for removing chains that have quick links. Now, most of the time you don't need one of these for quick links, okay? But every once in a while you'll get a quick link that's kind of frozen on there. And so this tool will put the quick link in between there, and you pull like that. It's pliers. Pulls down the quick link. Quick link will pop out. If you want to install the quick link, you put the quick link right there, and you spread out, and it'll pop the quick link in. I always use this for installing a quick link if I'm not on the road, just because I want to make sure that I don't put wear on the quick link instead of trying to push on the pedals. This will work the best. And then this is kind of a third hand for your chain. It helps to hold your chain in place. So you can put the chain on there, and you can let it extra length flop over, and it'll hold the chain in place, so that you're not trying to hold the chain with one hand and hold it with this, and then you're making a mess of yourself. So those are two good tools to have as well. Okay, like I showed you, as you kind of already saw, we talked about Allen keys. Well, here's your metric Allen key. So you want to always make sure you have your metric Allen keys. Make sure you have at least 4mm up to 8mm. Now, we're not going to use the 10mm, we're not going to use the 9, we're not going to use probably a 7, we're going to use the 6 definitely, we're going to use a 5. We're not going to use these in between sizes, 5.5, 4.5. So if you want to take your Allen keys out of here and put them in a smaller container and kind of combine Allen keys, you can do that. But I don't. I like to keep them in here. It keeps them nice and neat. They don't get banged around. They don't get damaged. If I have to use my Allen keys, I can just grab this and go to my bike and work on it. So just great to get these. And you want to make sure that they have the sizes here just in case you're to lose the case. So always have yourself a good set of metric Allen keys. That's vital. You're not going to want to change C-posts without that. Also get yourself a good torque wrench as well, which I don't have here. Okay, one other thing too here, I have a cutting tool. Now I have another one that's on the way, and I also have a third hand tool. Those are two things I didn't have. I always used for doing my cables now, for doing brake cables and for doing shifty cables. You want yourself a good set of cutters. Now, don't just go out and buy any cutters. There's a very specific type of cutter that you want. So Park Tools makes cutters that are specific. They're very special cutters used for cutting your braided cable for your bike, for your brake cables and for your shifting cables. So don't just go out and buy any electrical cables. Now, the interesting thing is these cutters are the exact type of cutters that, as far as the cutter portion of that, and they also got some crimpers on there. I use these mostly. I use these for other stuff as well, but the primary thing I use these for is crimpers. Now, one thing is I didn't bring my other cutters. My other cutters I had back in the States, they got very rusted. They kind of got left out. They're kind of garbage. So, well, I kind of had to toss them. So I had to order a new set of wire cutters, and I ordered a new set of third hand tools, but this was what I was using for crimping. because I don't like to use my cutters for crimping. So as you can see here, you have this nice crimp piece here, and you have some other things that these will do as well. So, but I did buy these, and I specifically did the research and looked up my other cutters, and these would do in a pinch for cutting. Although I'd probably wear the blades out on these a lot quicker than I would on the standard cutting tool, the standard dikes that we use specifically for bright cables and for shifting cables. So that's kind of an overview, folks, of tools. But what else do you kind of need in your toolbox? So there's a couple different types of lube that I carry. I do have some, as you can see here, I have some Park Tool grease. This is a, this is a waterproof grease. So you see what it looks like. It's going to look like that. It's kind of green. You can get the same stuff in a marine grease. You don't have to buy Park Tool grease if you can't get a whole Park Tool grease. This wasn't expensive though. Okay, now two things that I use specific. Oh, by the way, this is some of the grease that I use. You can use this white lithium grease as well, which is waterproof. It's just your marine grease is going to be a little bit better, and this is for your grease gun. Here, you can use that. Of course, one other thing you're going to want is if you have any carbon fiber parts mixed with aluminum parts, or just carbon fiber to carbon fiber, you're going to want to use fiber grip. So this is Finish Line fiber grip. This is a carbon fiber assembly gel, and what you do is you actually take this, and this isn't cheap stuff. So you want to use just a little bit, and what it does is it beads of carbon fiber, and when you apply pressure, this stuff cracks and spreads out and doesn't cause cracking to your carbon fiber components. Okay, and of course what you do is you use less torque than what you would do with aluminum. So what you need to do is very specifically find out what torque spec you need, and that's why a torque wrench is vitally important. And then you set the torque wrench for, if it would be like 4 Newton meters, you would do like 3 Newton meters for a seat post. And then what this does is it causes it so your carbon fiber seat post won't slip. Okay, and then two other lubes that I use, and I stick with White Lightnings on this. And then they actually have 3 lubes. They have a wet, they have a clean lube or a dry lube, and this Epic lube, which is kind of the best of both worlds. And this is a semi-dry lube. And what it does is, if you give it enough time, it does dry on there, but it's not a wax lube. So I use this in, it depends what type of conditions, but I use, as you can see, in probably about 4 months, I've used quite a bit of this. I clean my chain all the time with this stuff. I use it. It's absolutely awesome. Keeps everything, all your drive components working great. I use this also for my cleats. Now, since I've been in Guam, I've kind of switched, and you can see, oops, I use quite a decent amount of that stuff too. I use White Lightnings. You can see the price there. Let's see. Can we see a price? Can we see a price? New. I think this was $6 and this was $4. This might have been $6 and this might have been $8. I don't know. There's something close to that, but it's not that bad. It's well worth it. This is their self-cleaning wax lube, and this is a dry lube. Okay, so you put this on, you let it dry. You do not rub it off. You can rub it off on certain parts, but what it does is, as your bike components get dirty, this peels off and takes the dirt with it. So it prevents a lot of dirt. Okay, so what I do is I use this on the outer casings. What I'll do is I'll put in a bowl, I'll put the stuff in the bowl and let it evaporate. And then that's how I do my chains. Okay, so White Lightnings, typically I have all 3. This time I didn't buy any of the wet stuff, but this stuff works great. All 3 of it, all of your White Lightnings, I swear by it, and you can get it at any of your bike stores. So folks, that is kind of not really a quick overview. That was a decent length overview, giving you kind of all the tools, basic tools that you should need. Once, like I said, I get everything set up with, have my stand in place and have everything in place for all my work on my bike, we'll kind of talk more about it and kind of some hints to how maybe you can set up your own tools and setup. So folks, this is Skagly Bones with another video for you. Thanks for watching, and Make sure you guys click the subscribe button down below. Make sure you give a thumbs up if you like this video. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and we'll see you in the next video.